Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Small Brain Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the best characters I've ever met on the road driving across the United States. It's going to be a bit of a throwback podcast. Back in 2020, after I went full libtard and stayed inside with a mask on and didn't want to even talk to my parents because I was afraid they had COVID, after washing my groceries for 4 months, I decided, fuck all that, and I decided to drive across the United States of America. And I met some really interesting characters. And I found out that America is the greatest nation on the planet. It's an undisputable fact because of our great people. We have a panoply, a diverse palette of different individuals from across the country. We have ghetto scammers. We have drug addicts from all walks of life, all colors and creeds and denominations and everything. Everybody's addicted to everything in this country. We have religious fundamentalists, we have libtards, we have conservatives who want to shoot you in the fucking face for even thinking about stepping on their property. We have a wonderful nation of wonderful characters. And today I'm going to describe to you about 5 or 6 of the most interesting people I met on my, I think it was 5 months on the road. It's all I could afford at the time. I thought I was going to be gone for at least a year, maybe 18 months, and turns out the U.S. is expensive, so I came home after 5 months. And these are the best characters I met on my time in the road. So here we go. How's my fucking shirt look? Is it good? Okay, sweet. So our journey starts in Dallas, Texas, where I met an individual who will remain nameless. Basically, I left my home on July 5th. The day after July 4th, had to spend the time with the family, had to get in the quality time with them. My stupid fucking family, wasting my time. And I left on July 5th and had about 10 days worth of plans. I had a friend in Dallas who was going to let me stay with him and had a good time. He was kind of working and I was really paranoid of COVID, so I just kind of stayed inside. It was fine. It was cool. We drank and smoked and went to the pool and went to Whataburger. It was chill. It was real chill. But it wasn't like a memorable kind of travel, one of those classic adventures. I did have a good time, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. So after 10 days, I knew I couldn't really afford to stay in hotels in the U.S. That's why I brought my tent. And I was going to stay in hostels and guest houses and volunteer places in order to be able to afford this trip. And I'm not going to rehash all the details. There's actually a podcast, I think it's called 153 Days Homeless, something like that, like within the first 3 or 4 or 5 episodes I ever posted on this channel. So go check that out if you want like the entire story. But I'm keeping this one character driven because I feel like that's just what I want to do today. This is a throwback podcast. Fuck it. I'm just going to have fun with it. So after about 10 days with my friend, I went to this guest house or this hostel in deep Ellum, Texas, kind of a grungy neighborhood, kind of known for their craft beer scene and like good marijuana and other stuff. And it's just not what you think of when you think of Dallas. It was a bit rough around the edges. And they happened to have a hostel. I don't know why. I feel like in the U.S., hostels are extremely hard to come by. You almost never see them. And when you do, they're like homeless people and like fucking drug addicts and prostitutes staying there. And it's not the most relaxing environment, but it makes for a great story. So while I was there, I decided to scrub the floors and scrub the tiles and, brush the cobwebs off the fans and whatnot and just do like Mexican labor. Basically, I just did fucking indentured servant labor to be on their good side and to stay there for free. So I didn't pay any rent. I think I stayed there. I want to say I stayed there like 5. No. It was like 10 days. Yeah, it was about 10 days. Didn't really have a plan. Wasn't super excited about Dallas. But I kind of wanted to say I did it, and I just did it for the experience. And met some interesting individuals. I'm not going to use names in this because I don't want to like fucking out people as psychos. But I met one guy there who right away struck me as a bit odd. He was really into like COVID conspiracies. He's like, man, like they're just doing this to like fucking implant us with chips and track us. And he was of the mindset that he was going to become a billionaire by the age of like 30. And we had a good time together. We had fun. Like I enjoyed his company, but just a little kooky. You know what I'm saying? I feel like to stay in a hostel in the US, you just have to be a bit strange. But He didn't even make the list, guys. I'm just saying that's the kind of clientele that was in this hostel. The person I want to talk about was a scammer. He was a scammer from Illinois. And I don't know why he was staying in Texas. I think he was looking for a place to live. And that's what you find in the US is like a lot of these people aren't even traveling necessarily. They're not like backpackers. They're not like on a fucking spiritual quest, like eat, pray, love type shit. They're just kind of in between houses or in between jobs, or they can't make rent in their state, so they're coming to live in a cheaper place or whatever. Or in this individual's case, he was there to scam unemployment. He was there to run unemployment scams for people. That was one of the first things he offered to me. Like, we had been chatting, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. We had been hanging out. We smoked a little weed outside because in Deep Ellum, it wasn't legal in Texas back then. This was 2020. But fuck it. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's really not that hard to smoke weed illegally. It's one of the easiest things to do. There's a reason why fucking everyone does it. Because, I mean, by the time the cops show up, you're fucking inside. And then they're like, oh, there's the guy. And you're like, nah, that wasn't me. And that's it. That's all you got to say. Drug addict tip for the day. What was I going to say? So I just gotten to know this guy couple hours, and he starts telling me that what he does for a living is scam people. He runs credit card scams. He will take information from the dark web. He'll pay a premium for, like, I don't remember exactly how he did it. I think he used some deep web site or like some fake credential, or no, I think it was he bought like login credentials for people all over the world to like hack into their credit cards, and then he would just run up. No. What he did was, I think he used the login credentials to get the credit card number, and then he put the credit card number on like a new fake card, and then he would go around swiping it, buying gift cards. So after a while, those gift cards, they're untraceable, right? Because it's basically he's buying himself cash. I think that's how he did it. I don't exactly remember the intricacies of the scam, because I would make a terrible criminal. I mean, honestly, when he was describing this to me, I was terrified. I was like, how do you have the balls? Like, how do you sleep at night, dude? I mean, I guess he was like a huge pothead. Maybe that had something to do with his ability to sleep like a baby. But yeah, guys, he was a straight up scammer. Like, and I was like, oh, don't you feel guilty about that? Like, and man, this is the perfect kind of person that I made this podcast for. Like, those individuals who just meet in hostels, 18-year-old German kids like hitchhiking across Japan, or, you know, a French girl that has no knowledge of the world just hitchhiking in India. And this individual in Dallas scamming people, making a good living too, guys. He made, I don't know how much he made per month or per week or whatever, but I saw him give out hundreds of dollars to homeless people. Like, he had cash. He had fucking stacks on deck. Whatever you like, he had it. He had, just wads of cash. We'd walk downtown and get like ice cream or a beer or something, and he would just like give a homeless guy $20. Like, it was nothing. Because honestly, it wasn't really his money. Let's be honest. He didn't have an attachment to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, that was one of the first people I met on the road. This was just after like 10 days of traveling, where I was like, what the fuck, dude? This is an interesting guy. Like, it would have been perfect to have on the podcast. It's just back then I didn't really have the courage to sit in front of a camera. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with content. I knew I wanted to make a living traveling and talking to people and documenting it, but I didn't really know in what fashion. So yeah, it like slowly crept in as the trip went on, and I kind of learned what I was comfortable with doing, and filmed a lot of hiking videos, actually. I did a lot of hiking that summer just because it was all you could really do. That was exciting, and away from people. But this trip, I mean, I feel like I traveled across the U.S. at a very historic time. During COVID, we're all at each other's throats. But in Dallas, people seemed really relaxed and really chill. People weren't too worried about COVID. It's just, in Texas, they have this like freewheeling spirit. They don't really give a fuck. They just kind of do whatever they want. I really appreciated that. Because like I said, I was locked up hardcore. Like, I did it to myself. I mean, no one was making me do it. My government didn't really give a shit, honestly. I thought they could have been doing more at the time. But as time went on, and I slowly developed schizophrenia just from smoking weed in the house, blowing the weed smoke out of my parents' spare bedroom window, and just like thinking everyone was after me. thinking the cops were coming and thinking that it was going to be like a military dictatorship. I was terrified of Trump at the time. I don't want to get political or anything. I would like to avoid that on this channel, but I was not having a good time, guys. I was not having a good time, so I really felt like I should leave. And this was the way that I thought it was going to help my mental health. And I ended up meeting people like the scammer in Dallas. So after not spending any money for the last 10 days, oh yeah, we fucking hotboxed the dorm room. We fucking hotboxed the dorm room. It was just me and him in this place, and we bought a few grams of weed and rolled up a couple backwoods. I had never smoked backwoods. He was like he was ghetto, dog. Like, he was a real one. He was cool. He like was showing me the ropes. All right, this is a backwood. Here's how you smoke a backwood. Like, on some ghetto shit. Like, he was telling me about his friends in the hip hop industry. He's like, yeah, if you're ever in my hometown, like, come through. You'll get you on stage. Like, you'll be the fucking honorary white boy. Like, it was, dude, we had a great time, man. Great time. There's actually one day where we got in, we were just standing on the corner, and this guy rolls up and is like, do you guys want weed? And we're like, hell yeah, we want some weed. And he's like, get in. And we're like, hell yeah, we'll get in. And we got in his car, and they had a lit blunt, and they just passed it to us, and I hit it 1 or 2 times. And then I look in the floor, and there's a fucking open gas container, just randomly, like with the top screwed off. It was just like a fucking gas container in the back of the car, like an open flame, open gas container. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I wasn't really thinking at the time. I was half stoned, obviously. But the weed they gave us was like fake, I think. It didn't even get us high. We're just like ripping this thing. And then they like drive us to my friend's place to pick up some money to buy the shit. And we were kind of in too deep at that point. We like made it back to his house to get the money, and we're like, well, we can't really say we don't like the weed. We can't really say, oh, is this fake? Because they're drug dealers. They fucking know where we live now. We're just gonna give them the fucking $50 and call it a day. So that's what we did, and then we went back to his crib and smoked it, and it wasn't real. I think it was fake, dude. So we risked our life for some fucking fake weed. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it that happened in Dallas. So from Dallas, again, like I said, I was really tight on money. I had a few thousand in savings, but like I said, I knew what was to come. I knew there were hotel nights to be booked. I knew like there was gas to get across the country. I knew just unexpected stuff, tire changes, oil changes, shit like that. Maybe you crack a windshield. There's just unexpected expenses that happen on the road. So I wanted to make sure I was like nice and cushy. But I think I had like, around this time I had probably like $9,000 in the bank. So didn't really want to spend money on the hotels. So my plan was to volunteer on like organic farms. There's a website. I'm not going to shout it out because I've only had bad experiences on it. But it's a pretty big website. If you did your research, you could probably find it. But they allow you to stay for free on these farms in exchange for labor. So I wanted to stay near the Grand Canyon. So I got on the website, I searched around the Grand Canyon, and I found this joint. It was like some woman's trailer living at the Grand Canyon farming shit. That should have been the first red flag. What kind of woman lives alone at the Grand Canyon with a farm? What even grows at the Grand Canyon? Literally, what can you even grow in the middle of the goddamn desert? This lady was out of her mind, and yeah, I guess that's some foreshadowing for later. But I pull up to the place, and she's got like a kind of like a big gate, like, you know, as one would at a farm. And that's not really the first red flag. I mean, people living out in the desert obviously have gates. It's no big deal. And she kind of ushers me in, but she's holding like incense. She's like waving the incense, and the incense is like flying around. The smoke is flying around in my car. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, that's cool. You know, she's an organic farmer. She lives alone. That's cool. Nomadic lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I was really into like hardcore travel videos on YouTube, and I was like, all right, here we go. Let's do some shit, man. Let's fucking live our lives. And because, you know, I just felt like during COVID, I was like slowly dying every day. I had no purpose to live. I was just like, I'm just rotting away. So I spent my time on YouTube trying to escape reality. And it turned me to the most extreme kind of travel because I felt like those people were actually living. So I saw this as an opportunity to like get out there and really kind of test myself. So I get to this lady's farm, and she's got a trailer, and I go in the trailer, and she's got like a parrot, and the parrot's like slinging food all over the place. She's playing Dr. Phil, unironically watching Dr. Phil in the daytime. It's like 2, 3 p.m. It's hot as fuck outside. It's like 104 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not doing Celsius for you European pussies. Okay, you can learn my system because it's the best one. All right. There was another girl staying there with her, and she was cool. She was totally fine. No problems with her. But she gave the girl the bedroom in the trailer. So she had AC, she had running water, she had a toilet. I slept in this woman's. To call it a yard is very generous. It was just a tent on a patch of dirt next to some chicken coops and dogs. And honestly, it was some of the roughest travel ever. And I didn't even film it. Like I said, this was before I had the courage to like turn on the camera and start sharing my experiences. But it was a hell of an experience, man. And that's why we have the podcast, guys, to reminisce on the times before I was too afraid to turn on the camera. But yeah, that was rough because, it's nice going to bed in the desert at night. It's like, 50, 60 degrees, a little chilly, wearing your little sweatshirt. It's all good. But then by the time 7, 8 in the morning rolls around, it's like fucking brutal, dude. It's like 80, 90 degrees already. You're sweating. You're like, all right, I guess we'll just wake up and have a little joint. We're going to smoke a little joint with Sonny and watch some Dr. Phil in the morning. And that's going to be our fucking daily routine. Yeah. So there's basically nothing to farm. Basically nothing to farm. So this woman would just have us wake up and, I would like water the chickens. I'd water the dogs. I'd give all the animals food and then just sit inside and smoke weed all day. She had an arrangement. None of this is made up, by the way. But this woman was like fantastically crazy. I feel bad because she's dead now, but yeah, what are you gonna do? It makes for good content, all right? I did not kill her, all right? If that's what you're wondering, I did not kill her. I think she had a stroke. Anyways, how did we come back from this dark place? We basically wake up and do like 30 minutes of work, and it was basically I was pretty much useless to this lady. Let's be honest. I did very minimal work. To be honest, she shouldn't have even hired us in the first place. We had no idea what we were doing. I wasn't a construction worker. I couldn't really help her in any meaningful ways. I was just kind of a farmhand that was useless. Honestly, this lady needed Mexicans. She needed to smuggle Mexicans across the border because those are hardworking people and they're used to the living conditions and they're used to the weather. They could totally fare better than me. I was weak as fuck. And I was pretty much useless to this lady. Because like I said, around 9 a.m., this is what I was trying to say earlier. She had an arrangement with this farmer up the street where she would give him, I think, kale and spinach and maybe some homemade bread and exchange it for weed. But it wasn't just weed. It wasn't weed. It was a shake. So in like the grow ops, they will like, chop up the flowers, get rid of the stems and stuff, and like all the loose leaf that's left over, really just, they call it the shake because it's like, it just kind of shakes down to the bottom of the bag and it has almost no street value. But he was like, hey, I'll just give you some fucking shake. And we just had bags and bags of shake. So we just wake up, we'd hit gravity bongs in the morning. It was absolutely wild way to live. I wasn't exercising, I wasn't stretching. I just would wake up, water the chickens and maybe water the plants a little bit. She had like a little shitty greenhouse. And that was pretty much it, man. Like it wasn't, that was the majority of my work. And then I'd just get high and then maybe like take a nap inside. Cause like I said, I lived out goddamn side in a tent. So I couldn't nap. I had to go to bed at like 10 p.m. every night because it was so goddamn hot. But yeah, Sunny, long story short, she kind of got wind that I was useless. I mean, it took her long enough. Jesus Christ. I mean, she hired me and I think I was there for like maybe 2 weeks. And like I said, we weren't doing anything. We weren't accomplishing anything. I made her like a little kind of chicken hatchery thing where the chickens would lay an egg and it would kind of roll down and I made like a little board to kind of catch it. And I thought it was a pretty big accomplishment. But one day, Sunny basically just snapped. She was sick and tired of me like eating all of her food because I'm a bigger guy and I enjoy my calories. and I'm not going to fucking eat less because I'm working less. But that was the arrangement, man. Like, I work for food and board, and I was working enough. I was doing all that I could, basically. And any amicable adult would be like, hey, you know what? You're not really pulling your weight. Like, we need some stuff that you can't really give us. We're going to have to part ways. But Sunny just bottled it up. Every day she would like get angrier and angrier, and I could tell something was fucking stirring. And by the way, we were smoking hella weed, right? So I had the munchies every single day. So hard. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I quit smoking weed. That, and it makes me fucking useless. It makes me happy to be useless. It makes it feel good. It makes it feel very good to be useless when you're on the marijuanas. And so, part of the reason why I stopped. But I don't really do well with sugar and carbs and stuff. And when I get the munchies, I am so fucking hungry, and I'll eat anything. Anything in sight, I will eat it. I'll eat a fucking paper bag. I will eat your mom's ovaries. I don't care what it is. Like, if it's there, I'm fucking destroying it with my mouth. And so basically, we would get high, and I would just raid her pantry, dude. Absolutely raid it. The girl that was staying there with me, I can't remember exactly the situation, but I was just high as hell at night, and I just went in her pantry and just fucking destroyed it. Pecans. I was looking in the back of the pantry for like old tortilla shells. I was eating like fucking chocolate and like s'mores and just bread. This lady would bake. She made all of her money at the farmer's market every Sunday, so we would bake bread throughout the week and prepare it. And she actually made really nice breads with like fresh olives and like herbs and tomatoes and stuff kind of baked into it. I think it's like focaccia or something. She was a really talented baker, and but she's dead now. So she was a really talented baker, and completely unnecessary aside. So one day I just like she gave us like, I guess like the scraps or like the burnt ends or something, where it was like the pieces of bread that weren't going to make the batch for the farmer's market. And fucking, I would just go ham on those, dude. She basically gave us like free will to just kind of like eat those as we please. And one night I just went ham. I ate like 3 loaves of bread. I had some chocolate. I had some fucking Coke. And dude, I literally started having like a fucking diabetic episode. Like, my fucking vision was like, I was having like tunnel vision. My limbs were going numb. I was not in a good place. This is why I stopped smoking weed. I'm an intolerable asshole when I'm high. And so she wakes up and she's like, what the fuck? Like, what happened to the food? And she would just kind of drop subtle hints every now and then. And there was one night where we were like splitting eggplant, I think, as an appetizer. She was actually a really good cook. She just cooked on like a little fucking induction like camping stove. Obviously, poor woman, but she could make us really good food, actually. Really, really good food. And again, at the time, I was poor, and I was literally just staying there because I needed the free rent. Like, I needed to stay there. And I understand me talking about it in the past tense makes it feel like I was taking advantage of this lady. But keep in mind, like, this was the agreement. Literally, the agreement was I would stay here, I would work, I would do everything you asked me to do, and then I would eat 3 meals a day and with snacks and fucking, stay there for free. So before you fucking gang up on me in the comments, like, this was the arrangement. Like, I was in no way breaking the arrangement. I guess I was abusing it in a way, but a normal adult would be like, hey man, like this, can we work on these things? Like, kind of professionally engage me. But it's these old hippies, man. They're like burnt out on acid, and they're just like, oh, it's all good, man, until it's not. And those are the people that will fucking snap on you, dude. Those are the people you have to watch out for. Those old hippies, or any young hippies, my old roommates are a perfect example. Like, nobody ever talked about the chores. Nobody ever talked about like picking up after the dog. Nobody ever talked about like cleaning the tile. Like, we never had an adult conversation about maintaining the house in any like positive way. It was always just like, we would all ignore it until one day it like built up and we just have a huge fight. And I feel like that is a testament to marijuana. It makes you like averse to these kind of like difficult conversations where a normal fucking person would be like, hey, let's fucking hash this out. Let's have the awkward conversation and let's figure it out. But Sunny, this lady I was staying with, rest in peace, Sunny, Sundog, she never wanted to bring it up. So she would just kind of passive aggressively like make little jabs at me. And one night we're like splitting an eggplant, and she like makes, I don't know, 10 pieces or whatever for everybody. And I remember vividly, she put 7 pieces of eggplant on my plate. And she's like, here. And then she puts 1 on her plate and just kind of like eats it quietly and is kind of like looking over at me like, it was awkward, man. It was awkward. And I knew she was sending me like a clear message in her like passive aggressive elderly woman way, stoner ass way. And so anyways, the tension kept building up, and then till one day, the girl that was staying with us had to go home. Her dad was having some medical episode, and the nearest airport was Vegas, but she didn't have a car. So she's like, hey, can you just drive me to Vegas? And we'll like have a fun weekend there. Like, I'll treat you to a hotel room. My sister and her friends are coming into town. It's going to be great. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. We asked Sunny, the boss, and she's like, yeah, that's totally fine. And so we're going out for this girl's final dinner at Sunny's place. We're going to have like a little send-off dinner. And then we get to the restaurant, and, this girl's broke. I'm obviously broke. Sunny's broke. Like, none of us, we didn't really want to eat out. Like, none of us could afford it. Like, we wanted to give her like a nice evening out, but literally none of us could afford it. So I remember it was so awkward. We sat down at the table, and the waitress came over and was like, hey, what do you guys have? And I was like, oh, I just want a water. And Sunny was like, I'll have a water. And then the girl was like, I'll have a water. And then we all turned to each other and we're like, are none of us going to eat? And they're like, no, I don't really want to pay for it. And then we just left, dude. That was her sending away party. And we just left. And so we're in the car on the way back. I say car. It was literally like a beat down truck with no fucking windows. It barely ran. It was one of those trucks where like you would accelerate it and it would like kind of like speed up, because I guess the enrichment of the fuel was like so fucked. I guess from being old gas in the tank, you kind of accelerate and then it would kind of like lurch forward and then just like clunk along and then lurch forward. So we're just driving along, 3 of us in this like piece of shit, like stick shift little like 1987 Ford Ranger that's like been shot at by Native Americans and fucking definitely fell down the Grand Canyon a few times. And we're driving back to Sunny's crib, and Sunny was like, you know what? Like, how about we have some like ahi tuna tonight? I have some ahi tuna. I'll make us tuna steaks. And I was like, that's very generous, Sunny. Like, thank you so much. That's a great idea. Let's do that. And so we get back to her place, and I mean, God bless her. She was a great cook, honestly. Rest in peace, Sunny. So we get back to her crib, and then Sunny's like, you know what? Like, why don't we just have like pepperoni, and I'll make you guys like little personal pizzas. So she, again, great cook, sweet lady at times, and she makes us a little personal pizza, but it's like a Lunchable size thing. It's like as big as my hand. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that big. I'm a fucking 220-pound man. I need my goddamn calories. And so I eat the pizza, and I'm a little high, and I'm like, hey, what's good with the tuna, Sunny? Like, that's not really going to be enough. Like, can we make the tuna? And that's when she fucking snapped, bro. Like, she absolutely went postal on my ass. She's like, you don't work at all. You're not contributing anything. All you do is take. You eat like 3 construction workers and you can't even do the work of 1. And she was just like airing out all this beef like out of nowhere, dude. Out of nowhere. I mean, before that, she had kind of breadcrumb stuff, but this was like she was fucking firing off. She was snapping, dude. If she had a gun, she would have fucking shot me in the eyeball, dude. Like, she was on one, my dude. She was terrifying. And it's just me and her in the middle of the fucking desert with this other random girl who's not going to do shit. And I'm just sitting there like, am I about to be fucking Gabby Petito'd in this bitch? Like, is she going to fucking push me down a hill and like claim that I killed myself? I mean, dude, you never know. Dude, the desert, first of all, desert people are crazy. All right, if you live out in a remote area like that, in any state, in any country, especially in the desert, there's something with the UV rays and the fucking lack of ozone layer. It fucking destroys your brain cells out there. She had like wrinkly old skin. I think she was in her 50s. She never wore sunscreen. She had like a faded tattoo here. I mean, you can imagine, guys. She did a little too much acid at a Grateful Dead concert. Maybe she took 4 tabs one time and then she saw Jesus. She got ass raped by Jesus, and now she fucking walks around with a limp because of it. I'm not really sure. I don't know. But this lady had like a screw loose, and me eating her ahi tuna, like fucking, like something switched in her brain, dude. Like she went absolutely insane. And then I went to her later, and I was like, listen, Sunny, like, I tried to like bridge the gap between what she was feeling and what I was feeling. I was like, listen, I know I've been eating a lot. Like, I'm really sorry. Like, is there something we can do? Maybe I work more or eat less and I can buy groceries next time. And she was done, bro. She was like, I think you should just go with Monica. I'll say her name. Fuck it. She was like, I think you should go with Monica to Vegas. And I was like, all right, bet. You don't want me here? I don't want to be here. Fuck it. And then I just packed my bag and we left the next day. And that was it. That's the last I heard of Sunny. Monica hit me up a couple months ago and said she's dead now. So this one goes out to Sunny. She was a fucking gangster. I mean, look, crazy lady. Made for a great story though. Great life experience. I know to never use that website to book places again. Also, she had like one review and it was bad. Guys, never stay at a place with one review. There was another time on that trip, little side tangent, where I stayed in an Airbnb with one review, and just because I had a hot tub, I wanted to stay there, but I booked it at like 10 p.m. at night and then showed up, and the guy was living in the garage of the place that he was Airbnb-ing, and it was like his friend's place, but he wasn't telling his friend. And then his wife didn't know, so I had to like sneak in the back, and there was like a condom wrapper under the bed, and it was like a kind of a room like this, kind of like a smaller room, but this was the whole place. It had a mirror and a fucking stovetop and a toilet, like all in the same room. I mean, guys, this guy should not have been Airbnb-ing this place. It also had like an 80-inch TV. It was insane, dude. I actually filmed it on Small Brain American. It's called America's Worst B&B or something like that, because on the way back from the trip, that's when I bought the camera and first decided to start vlogging like full form, long form content. Before that, I was just doing TikTok and stuff. But that's when I decided, all right, I'm going to get the camera, I'm going to do the vlog thing. And that was, I think, like my third or fourth video on Small Brain American, guys. So go check that out. I'm really glad to have some video evidence of that place. It was such a fucking shit show. Yeah, so never, ever, ever stay at places with one review, guys. Never do it. It will just lead to trouble, only trouble. I thought I was going to like learn how to farm on this lady's farm. I thought I was going to like be more sustainable and like try to understand how to like be more self-reliant is the word I'm looking for. But no, man, I just learned that Dr. Phil comes on at 11 Mountain Time and that shake will get you high. And I learned to never ask for seconds with Sunny. But I won't ever again because she's dead. All right. On a lighter note, when I was in Utah, there was one day I was hitchhiking. And I think I was like doing a really hard hike. It was like a down and up kind of thing. And I made it to the bottom, or I think it was up. I think I was going from low elevation to high elevation. And I get to the high point, see the lookout, do the sunset. But the thing with sunset hikes is you can see the view, but then on the back, you need like a headlamp. You need a way to get down from the mountain, but I didn't have anything. I was woefully unprepared. I think I actually filmed this too on my TikTok back in the day, back in 2020. Yeah, late 2020, before the YouTube channel. So anyways, I'm like walking along the road back to my car, and I wasn't even hitchhiking. I wasn't even thumbing it. I was just walking on the road, and this car just pulls over like 3 seconds after I start walking, and then this big like Chevy Avalanche, like nice new truck, fucking beautiful dog in the back. And they're like, hey, do you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, actually, could you take me down to my tent? It's at the bottom of the mountain. That's where I'm camping for the night. And that would be really great, actually. Thank you so much. And I get in the car, and they're driving me down. And they're like, well, you know what? Like, you could follow us to our place. You can get your tent. You can wrap it up. We have four-wheelers. We have, pancakes. And we have more dogs. And we have a son and his wife. And you can hang out at our place. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, let's do that. So we go down, load the tent up, and I just follow them. I follow them to this like compound. It's a gated community, and I pull up. We go in the gate. Sure enough, there's a private lake. There's side-by-side, like four-wheeler type things, all-terrain four-wheelers type things. His son is there. The beautiful dogs are there. And I'm like, wow, this is, you guys have it going on. Do you guys own the mountain or something? And it turns out they were Mormons. I was in Zion National Park. It's in the southern part of Utah where a lot of conservative Mormons live. The YouTube algorithm would have you believe that's where a lot of the polygamists are, but these were just like standard Mormons. And had a great time with them. Stayed there for a long weekend. I went to Mormon church with them. They gave me a Book of Mormon at the end of the weekend. We just rode four-wheelers and pet the dogs, and we had pancakes and talked about Jesus. It was an amazing time, actually. One of the most memorable kind of religious adjacent experiences of my life. It was actually amazing. I was like, wow, this is what being a Mormon is like. I could sign me up, dude. Fucking, I'll join the cult. But what I learned is that every Mormon every Sunday learns the same thing. Like they have a book. First of all, they have the Book of Mormon, which is just an additional book to Christianity. We have the Old Testament, the New Testament, and then Mormons believe that they're still Christians. They just have like an updated kind of new version of Christianity. And so they follow it to a T. And basically Mormonism was like, they kind of view the U.S. as like the new Jerusalem. It's like the new coming of the chosen people, I guess. I think like the Native Americans met the Israelites or something like that. There's some like lore where in the 1800s, like something happened. I think Jesus came to the U.S. or it's some like kooky kind of adaptation of Christianity. And that's all I knew about it. But I went to like church with them. It was digital church. It was just like they kind of just talked about the Book of Mormon, and I was just kind of sitting there watching. And it was actually really heartwarming, like seeing them all come together, all talk about Jesus, all talk about kind of have a collective understanding of the world. And, you know, the older man, like was the head of the family. And it just felt right. It felt like very traditional and I don't know, just like a little frontier lifestyle, man. And they're pretty wealthy and like they had a nice big ranch and obviously a lot of, you know, assets and they had property and a beautiful family and they let me stay with them all weekend. I stayed in their spare bedroom, and I think I stayed in the kids' room. It was like a couple bunk beds, and that was one of the most heartwarming experiences of this entire trip. Of when I was, you know, traveling across the U.S. I just, I don't know, kind of revitalized my hope in humanity a bit, and like traditional family values. They just seem so happy. And I know, obviously, like, you know, Mormons get a lot of publicity, like the secret lives of Mormon wives and all that shit. Obviously, there's bad eggs, just like in everything. You know, you can point to bad Christians, bad atheists. It's either way. I'm not trying to make like a fucking statement right now on religiosity, but it just felt really good to see like a shining example of something that's like vilified so often. It really, it was a really nice experience. And yeah, just really heartwarming. 3 days with the Mormons. All right. And then a few days after that, I met another family who was from Atlanta, actually. And I told them the same situation. I was hiking in Bryce Canyon National Park, which is near Zion. It was just a few days later. I was just on a random hike, and this lady and I are kind of talking about some like rock formation we see. And we're like, yeah, you know, like this is cool, this. And that's the thing when you solo travel, like you meet more people. You're forced to meet more people. I didn't have any friends on the road. I literally had to make friends. And I feel strongly that if I had gone with a friend or a significant other, I wouldn't have learned or seen as much. So I was out there and just talking to this lady, and it turns out she's from Atlanta. And same situation with the Mormons. I told them, oh yeah, like I'm camping over here. Like I'm driving across the country. And I told her the whole story. And she's like, oh, well, we have like the National Park Lodge tonight, like in the park. Like, why don't you stay with us? And I was like, fucking bet. So I think I drove separately to my camp spot, which is like about an hour outside of the national park. That's the thing with the national parks is they're deceptively big. Like, and you know, you might see Yosemite on a map and you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like, let's go to Yosemite from San Francisco. First of all, it takes like 4 hours. And then to go from like one end to the park to the other, it's like an hour and a half. So you could be camping in the public lands like an hour and a half, you know, camping for free in public lands. And it could take you 90 minutes to get to like a trailhead. And then you got to calculate all that and look the sunset. And yeah, it's a lot. So at the end of the day, I went to my campsite. I broke it all down. And then I drove back into... Actually, you know what? No, I stayed in the park that night. I fucking stayed in the park. I didn't even go and get my shit. I left my tent there, all my shit inside, and just fucking stayed in the park and stayed at their little cabin. They let me sleep on the floor next to the fire. It was actually a really nice cabin. And I felt like a fucking pet. Because like it was like an older couple or like, you know, late 40s, early 50s couple with their like daughter. She was like 16. And I was like, I'm not sleeping in the bed with this fucking kid. And they didn't offer. First of all, they didn't offer, but it crossed my mind. I was like, how the hell is this sleeping arrangement going to work? This is going to be strange. So they just let me sleep like next to the fire. It literally felt like I was like in a kid's storybook or something, like a fucking stray dog they let like come in for the night. It was crazy, but they put down like really nice pillows and they had a nice like rug, and it was a good old time, man. And so I stuck with them for 3 or 4 days, and they bought me all my food and they bought me a couple beers here and there, and I hit the fucking husband's weed pen. That was a good old time, man. I think the husband was like seriously addicted to this fucking band because we were on a hike one time and he got like so stoned he was like passing out. Like he was like, he was gone on the sauce, bro. He was gone, dude. I remember the wife and kid were like, "Oh, come on!" And they. The funny thing is, they would call him by his first name, the wife and the kid. And I was like, "Did they show this man any respect?" Like, I don't know. It was a weird situation. I didn't know if he was a stepdad or what, but. Yeah, it was a really funny situation. You never know. Like when you put yourself out there and you're vulnerable with people, that's what a lot of these like no money challenges are on YouTube. I think it's a bit of a cringe, a bit of an overdone kind of trope on YouTube. But I really agree. Like when you put yourself out there, you're vulnerable, you take risks, you don't have much money in your pocket, you'd be really surprised. And the thing with my trip was like it was 100% genuine. It wasn't like I was doing it for content or clicks. I was literally just trying to have a good time. So, and that's the only way I knew how to do it. Like I invested the $230 or $240 for the tent, which was a lot of money at the time, but it really ended up saving me a lot of cash on the road because I was just able to like have, first of all, the freedom to just sleep anywhere I wanted to, not be constrained by like where I was or if I was lost. I mean, there was many nights where it was dark and I didn't really want to drive anymore. So I was like, fuck it. I just pitched the tent and called it a night. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't really sleeping well. My mental health was in the shitter. But by God, does it make a good story. And when you're that young and you're that broke, you kind of need to take risks like that because, you know, the opportunities aren't going to find you. You have to like go out and find them yourself. So yeah, so Utah, I feel really fondly about because yeah, people just really looked out for me, man. And the same thing happened in Montana. I drove up a couple weeks later. And man, I just remember this trip so fondly, so fondly. I had very little, but I was just adventuring like so hard every single day. So I leave Utah, go to, I stayed with my friend one night in Salt Lake City. That was a lot of fun. And then I drove to Montana. I wanted to go to Glacier National Park, like one of the most fabled, one of the most famous, beautiful places in the entire country. And this entire trip was just kind of based around like my interests, very organic kind of flow to it. And so I drive up to Glacier, but on the way is a town called Hot Springs, Montana. It's a very small town, really in the middle of nowhere. It's just kind of like on some rolling plains in Montana between like the plains of the Midwest and like the Rockies, like the Continental Divide in the West. And God, America's just such a great nation, isn't it? It's such a wonderful fucking continent. I could never leave and be like completely fulfilled, honestly. I do enjoy speaking different languages, but I feel like you can still do that in the U.S. But anyways, I digress. So there's a town called Hot Springs, Montana. It's a very bizarre town. It's where obviously there's hot springs, and a lot of the people bathe every day in the hot springs. They're constantly in the water, and it turns out the chemical composition of the water, you can look at the different elements in it. Like I went to this hotel that actually turned out to be an old mental hospital. There's an old mental hospital that they had renovated into like this new hotel. So I was staying in some room that probably the fucking Exorcist happened in like a few days before. The floors are creaky, like I'm seeing fucking shadows. But they had these pools outside, and they were like semi-public pools. You had to pay like $2 or $3 to get in. And yeah, it turns out like you can print off it's publicly available information in hot springs where they show you all the elements in the water, and one of the elements is lithium. Lithium, if you want to do some quick Googling, you don't have to, I'll tell you, is a mood stabilizer. It's what they give to people with like mental disorders, like that feel very distressed and anxious throughout the day. They give them lithium, and that's just floating around in the water. So everybody's real mellow and real chill, and like nothing can bother them. So I meet this one lady there that was like telling me about, you know, traveling across Morocco in the 70s, and she is like this kind of very hippie girl vibe, and she's kind of hitting on me, and she's being really flirty and like kiss and all that, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I'm humoring her because it's like semi-interesting, and what the fuck else am I gonna do? Like I'm bored, I'm by myself. And so I think she had to like go home for the night or something, and it's like walking away. Oh, no. I was leaving. I was like, all right, fuck this. This is crazy fucking bitch. And so I'm walking away and she's like, she calls to me. She goes, I love you. like, like you can imagine, you probably went to like high school or college with like a girl that maybe got too much into psychedelics and just like, I love you. You're part of the universe. You're part of the ever-present material that's floating between all of us. Like, you know the type that just doesn't really know when it's the time and place to get into all that shit. But anyways, I had pitched my tent. Oh no, wait. I didn't pitch my tent at all. I was still looking for a place. But guys, in a lot of the continental U.S. in the West, a lot of the land is publicly owned. That means if you're a U.S. taxpaying citizen or if you're a fucking illegal immigrant, you can just sleep. You can just stay there for up to 14 days. You can park your trailer. You can cook all the meth you want, Walter White style in your underwear, and just fucking hang out there. And no one's going to bother you for 14 days. It's up to 14 days. You're not breaking any laws. So we went out there, or I did, and that was kind of where I was camping throughout this entire trip. But at this one particular juncture, I had no place to stay yet. And so I noticed there was a trivia night, and I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 o'clock. The sun was about to go down, and walk into the trivia night, do the thing, and there's a family in there that like invites me to play with them because obviously I'm by myself. So they invite me to join their team, and after the game, they're really friendly, they're really nice. And after the game, they tell me that I'm welcome to pitch my tent in their yard. They don't live in the town, but they're hosting an Airbnb in the town. And it happens to be empty for the next 2 or 3 days. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll pitch my tent. So I pitched my tent kind of in the side yard. It's like kind of off a back alley, but there's some grass and some gravel. So I pitched my tent there. And yeah, I'm just hanging out, just enjoying life, man. And they let me like use the frying pans. They let me use the shower inside, the bathrooms. They're like, hey, Connor, hey, you know what? No one's going to be there for the next 12 hours. Like have it for the day. Make sure you make the beds and clean up after yourself on the way out. So very nice people. And that's the thing, man. You just never know. Like these people out there are just, there's legends to be made. And you just got to like strike up the conversation. You got to be I guess being vulnerable helps. Being broke helps. Being young helps. But you just never know. And Hot Springs was like one of the strangest places I'd ever stayed. It was like a really kind of bohemian, like cowboy town. Like at night, depending on the night you go to the bar, one night it could be like a fucking Rastafarian cover band and everyone's like smoking DMT in the corner, or like a fucking Brad Paisley cover band where guys are like saying the N-word casually and like fucking doing a little honky tonk in their cowboy boots. It was absolutely insane. I remember one night I fucking took Molly and mushrooms at this fucking bar and I felt amazing. And then we're hanging out. I think I had mushrooms and I gave this girl Molly and then she had Molly. So we like did a little swap and we both took a little bit of each. And then she ends up getting in this argument with this like redneck guy about like abortion. And they're fucking going at it, dude. They're at each other's throats. They are going ham about abortion. And I'm like kind of rolling, kind of tripping, just like, what's happening? Like, why are you guys talking about this? So after a while, I just left and I got on my phone and I was just calling all my friends like, dude, I fucking love you, man. I love you so much. Like, thanks for being my friend. Like all this stuff. I look down at my phone. It's like glowing. I go back to the B&B and it's occupied. I guess someone had decided to stay there that night. They got booked out. And it was the friends of the owner. So I guess they were like doing them a favor as well and letting them stay. So I come in and they're just fucking going hand. They're like doing, rum shots and like fucking sake bombs and tequila shots. And we stay up till like 7 a.m. We're getting hammered. Dude. I remember vividly at one point, this guy was there, older gentleman, and we were hammered, dude. It was like the sun was coming up. I was still fucking rolling. And he's older guy, but he's got like a young girl on his lap. Like, I think he was like trying to fuck this girl. Not like young, but you know what I'm saying? Like still of age and everything. And like a fucking woman, okay? And they're kind of like, doing their thing, whatever. Everyone's still partying. We're like smoking weed. We're smoking cigarettes. We're having a great time. And the guy, how sometimes people do this, like just for fun. They're like, how old do you think I am? And I was like, nah, let's not do this. And dude, I was like, I don't know. Honestly, dude, he looked 80. He looked 80 years old. And I was trying to be nice. And I was like, I don't know, like 72. And everybody just gasps. They're like, oh, what? You think he's 72? And I was like, yeah, it looks like 72. Honestly, he looks 80. I didn't say that, but And they're like, dude, he's like 54. I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Oh, fuck, dude. I overestimated this man's age by 2 decades. I guess he had been doing this for far too long. He had been fucking young women and fucking, doing drugs and smoking weed inside and like doing sake bombs at 6:30 in the morning with 22-year-old boys. Like, I guess it had finally fucking caught up to him, dude. Couldn't believe it. I felt terrible. But still, absolute legend. And honestly, the people that let me stay there were just so nice. I remember I flew home because this was like August, September situation. It's back when there was all the wildfires in the U.S., so camping and hiking was a bit tricky. So I stayed in Hot Springs for a while. But eventually I wanted to fly home. I wanted to just go home for my birthday. I didn't want to have to drive my car across the entire U.S. So I jumped on a plane during COVID. Amazing time to fly. There was nobody on the plane. I just slept across the whole fucking aisle. The flight was like $200. It was amazing. Flew across the entire continental U.S. Did my thing with my family. Came back. The people that they let me stay at their house in the yard and use the bathroom and stuff, they fucking let me park their car at their real house in another area in Montana, right near the airport. So I just fucking parked there. She called the Uber. I flew out, did my thing in Atlanta, flew back. There was like snow all over my car, and I was like, fuck, dude, it's time to go south. So that's when we went like west to Seattle. And in Seattle, that's where I met, got to be careful on time. Got about 5 minutes left. So in Seattle, one of my good friends, Michael, was staying at a house with a bunch of his homies. Like, it was probably like 6 people were staying in this house in like a really prime spot in Seattle. Huge share house, tons of rooms, tons of space. They had like their own personal bar. They had like a refrigerator with like aperitifs. They had a separate refrigerator with like, craft mustard. There was a really rare craft beer shop down the street. Yeah, everybody was just interesting. They all biked and mountain climbed and like rock climbed. And I'll never forget, it was during the 2020 election. And one of the roommates got on everyone's nerves. Like his dog wasn't trained. It would like shit in the house. He smoked weed in the house. He was unreliable for stuff. And the way he made it up to his roommates was he would buy them rare craft beer. And so I don't know this yet. I barely know any of these people. And it's the night of the election, and we're all like nervous about what's going to happen. This was 2020. And dude, and remember, everybody was at each other's throats for the election, for COVID, Trump. Like, everybody is fucking hating each other, man. So it was just a scary time to be in America, especially in Seattle. I feel like if shit went wrong, it could really pop off. But I wasn't nervous at the time. So anyways, before the watch party, we're going to have like a big watch party with everybody in the house, have a couple friends over, smoke some weed, smoke some fucking spliffs, have some beers. Like, it was going to be a good time. So we all go out to the beer stop, this beer store that this one roommate worked at. And we're like pulling up, and dude, the prices are outrageous. This was still like pre-inflation and stuff, but it was still like Seattle, big city in America, craft beer. This was still like very expensive. Like one can of craft beer could be like $6 type thing. And like a case could be like 30, right? For like 4 beers. So I pick out like one little 4-pack. I'm like, I'm not trying to splurge. I'm like still a little tight on money. They're letting me stay there for free, by the way. Like, I stayed there for a month. No rent, no questions asked, no beef, nothing. It was fucking beautiful, beautiful situation. That's why I still feel very fondly for Seattle. But yeah, so I'm standing there at fucking house, whatever, there's no problems. And we're at the beer store, and I just want the 1-pack. I just want 1-pack. I don't want to fucking cause any disruptions. I can't afford this really to begin with. So we go up to the register, and homie is like, nah, dude, that's all you're going to get? And he gets a fucking wooden crate, like a fucking pallet. He gets like a fucking crate. And he's like, here, this is a good sour. Here's a good hazy. Here's a good imperial stout. Like, he's fucking just loading this bitch up with beer. And I was like, dude, I can't. And he's like, shh, shh, shh. And we get up to the front. He rings it up for like, he like had to like obviously scan every item. It was like $240 for all this beer. It was like as much as a fucking used PlayStation 5, dude, for all this beer, like for one night's worth of beer. And then he just kind of like enters in something in the fucking keyboard, and it's like $2. And I was like, dude, you absolute legend. Like, you did not have to do this. Like, you're not getting on my nerves living here. I'm the fucking freeloader. I'm the mooch. I should be paying for all this beer. But nah, man, he just fucking swiped the card, did some like mumbo jumbo on the little fucking iPad, and what do you know? We had a great little watch party. Well, that's about it, guys. I have an appointment to make that I'm going to be late for because I was podcasting. But thank you very much for coming along for another episode of the Small Brain Pod. I really hope you enjoyed. I really enjoy these kind of like throwback episodes, but before I was like filming anything to kind of give you guys an insight on like what it was like back then to be fucking broke, bootstrapping it, barely affording anything, stealing beer from people, sleeping in people's yards, hanging out with scammers in Dallas. But if you enjoy this video, be sure to leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe. We're just getting started over here at the Small Brain Pod. So thanks very much. See you next time. Love you.